Okay. All right. We are recording. This is episode 1 of Glitchy Ghost Podcast. I am finally doing this and very excited to do this with you, my co-host, Cody. Uh, I'd like to introduce myself actually. I am Jamie. We are both Jersey residents and we are longtime friends.
And now we just lost the West Coast because you said Jersey.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. The West Coast was never our friends. Um,
And we're never getting them back now.
that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so yeah, Glitchy Ghost podcast. We're starting this as just kind of a thing we've been wanting to do, just because you know, I think with all podcasts, it's just always about somebody who likes to talk a lot and like to talk a lot of. I'm trying to be politically correct without cursing, but
Well, I mean, we could just say like it's something we want to do, not just for a podcast, but just to talk about upcoming games. Because we don't really talk that often about the games. We normally just play 'em.
games, tech. I mean, even we want to do what every other episode with supernatural and even random topics of just everyday, ordeals. Nothing political. Nothing that is too real. Because I think in this state that we are in, too real is what we've been living in a little too long for these last couple months, or actually, I would say a year or so. So I think just having something where you can just listen to, um, and also continue the conversation, uh, is well needed, you know. Um, but that's what we're here. That's what Glitchy Ghost podcast is going to be about. Just this area of just talking about nerding out, talking about games, talking about tech, talking about supernatural, paranormal, anything that you can think of. We're gonna talk about. It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get funny. Uh,
Definitely funny.
and yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We think we're funny, but that's the issue is that we have a weird sense of humor. I think we have a very dark sense of humor. I don't know how many people love that,
I mean,
but
we
I
just
mean.
got to stop making jokes in the dark. That's all.
I, I can't stand you,
Well, I mean, we
bro.
are sitting down talking about this right now,
I,
so
the issue is that I am in the dark right now. That is the worst part about it.
oh, it's about to get real dark humor up in here, huh?
Oh gosh. All right. So we this episode 1, pilot 1, we put a little list out of things that we want to actually talk about. I know we're gonna veer off. I think there's just gonna be so many side conversations that we're gonna like go into and ramble on. So I think let's just start it off with what we just recently started playing um, yesterday, which was Resident Evil Village.
Amazing. Let's just start off by saying it's great.
That intro, that intro was fantastic. It's something I don't think I would have definitely expected from Resident Evil, especially how they have so many cold openings where it's just like shit hits the fan here, your protagonist has to go and fix it or figure out what's going on.
Shout out to Ethan with Winters, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it continues on from 7, and it's a familiar person, which is Ethan, and man, that man's been through a lot, and he's
Too much.
still going through it. He's still going through it. I mean, I listen. I don't. It's crazy to think of what he's been through 7, and if I'm pretty sure a good majority of people have either read about it or played it or whatever, but the whole thing of 7 was you go to this crazy house in the middle of like backwoods of somewhere to go find your girlfriend that went missing, and shit hits the fan in Resident Evil fashion, and this man goes through hell and back to find this girl, and 8 is a continuation of that. Well, Village. So, I mean, so far, like I said at the beginning, I mean, we've played how many hours? I would say.
We played about 5 hours, but mainly just getting the feel for it just now.
Yeah, I mean, 5 hours felt like a long time. It felt like a whole Resident Evil game right then and there. I mean, just going through partial of the village and going through the castle portion of it. I don't want to throw too much out there just because I don't want to, I don't know,
I
talk
mean, we
too
can't
much
really
for spoilers.
spoil what we haven't fully explored yet.
I'm talking about as far as what we already played, but um it felt like just a full game right then and there, and that was a lot. That was a lot to go through. And I want to say the puzzles though are not as cryptic as I thought they would be, like in other Resident Evils. They're not as good as the one that we went against. I think in 7. I feel like 7 had better puzzles so far.
I feel
Well,
like
I mean,
we're just getting into it. They're just warming us up. We had those 4 statues we had to figure out. I mean, it's a little complicated here and there.
I'm hoping that's what it is. I feel like I'm hoping that castle was the warm up. I hope that was like, hey, this is what the game's gonna go into, and then the puzzles actually get a little bit more in depth, because I think that's what I like in the whole Resident Evil franchise is actually just the whole puzzle system. I mean, the horror aspect is cool, and thinking on the fly is cool, but just the actual puzzle side of it, I think is just where that game is at. I feel like that's just the core of it. Um, and what the story so far, oh my gosh. I mean, visuals are great, story is great. Um,
Visuals are amazing.
I just don't know how I feel about, drifting from zombies. Which I mean, technically they did that in 7, right? I mean, that's when we started to go away from zombies. I think it's 7,
Yeah,
right? Um, yeah, well, it wasn't even in I think Revelations. I think even had like they weren't even really zombies. They were just like
they're
some
more
weird,
mutated animal type creatures.
yeah, like people and animals. Yeah, it was just like it wasn't actual zombies. And I think you know what? Even in 4, now that I think about it, it's been a while
Six,
since
six,
zombies.
six actually had the bosses were they were like that guy was like a jaguar type creature.
Yeah, he was, but there were zombies in 6 though. But I'm thinking even in 4, where they were. I don't even think I would consider them zombies.
At
They were
5,
just
you can't
infected with
consider
something.
them zombies. Now that I think of
No,
it,
not
either.
here. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? All right, so I take my comment back. I just
Maybe they
I just why do I always thought that, like, Resident Evil is just about zombies, but I don't think if you think back on it, it's
it-
not.
it's
It's
about
really not.
creatures.
Well, it's just mutations of people and creatures. Yeah. I mean, I miss the liquors. I'm not gonna lie. I hope liquors do come back in 8 or Village, whatever. That'd be awesome.
See, that's
Cause
something that no Resident Evil person should ever say. They want one of the old terrifying zombies, like well creatures.
no, I want a liquor.
It's a
That sounds
scary
weird.
thought. Yeah, I mean, you keep that stuff for yourself, but
I know.
um. I do say I enjoy Resident Evil Village a lot more because unlike before, we have more combat. We do,
Oh yeah.
and
Compared
it's
to
not
7, yes.
yeah compared to 7, and it's not 5 and 6 where it's just a outnumbering amount. It's a decent amount. It's
Yeah, you
what
know
you
what?
would expect in a village.
They really give you ammo, and it almost feels like they give you too much ammo, and then you get real skeptical. I'm like, why? Why is there
But it
so
is
much
just the
ammo?
beginning, and I mean we have. I mean I've seen it when we first were in the first part. The zombies were taking 4 shots, then they started taking 5 shots, and it seems like
Werewolves, the lichens. You can't even say zombies. The lichens,
oh yeah,
the
the
new
ghoul
creature.
type creatures, yeah. They're starting to take more ammo each as we progress.
How do you feel
So
about how dynamic the game is right now, as far as like the amount of creatures you've seen already within 5 hours
I mean, it's a decent amount. It's a good
already, right?
variety. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good
it's pretty
variety.
great. And I like that they, without giving out too much spoilers, but I like that they have you interact with certain people and give you kind of a taste of them
Yeah, and
before
they
you
kind of
actually. deal with them later on in the story because you
Yeah,
actually do get to fight some of these people, and then it's just like kind of a cliffhanger, and then you go on into the story, which I like that because it's like, damn, I want to see more of that.
and then you got these side characters where you kind of get sort of like, oh, they're gonna be with me for a while, and then sometimes they're snatched away.
It's very true. I feel like this is a lot of our topics with the gaming. I think it's pretty funny. I think this might be kind of a zombie orientated, almost zombie orientated episode because going into that, Dying Light 2,
I mean,
Dying
yeah,
Light
we
2,
we played Dying Light 1. I'm ready for 2. I like the parkour.
hardcore. Is that being pushed heavily in 2? Is that is
Yes.
that was that is it being more improved?
Yes, it actually is. They've had actual parkour experts come in and, review the parkour that they put in the game. They
That's
have
why it's
them
taking so
in the
long.
suits. No, that's not why. They're making it bigger, more in depth of the location and what you can do in it. They're
When did they
making
announce
zombie
this? They announced this what? How many years
a
ago?
few years ago. This is
2 years
probably I would say a few months after the last DLC for Dying Light came out. They announced that they
ago.
were working on a new project, and that's they've been working on for a while. So I mean, we can only hope that it's way better. From what I've seen so far, it looks way better.
Yeah, I see a lot of a mixture of fighting regular people versus like infected. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a nice mix of that instead of you just bashing zombies' heads in.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to
Um,
be 15 years after this outbreak, so you can only expect, humans to kind of go crazy, the ones that are still alive that aren't, zombies, to kind of want to take more than what they think they need because they're just trying to survive.
yeah, I mean it's exciting. I'm 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 ready for this game to come out, but it's just it's taking too long, I think. I need another open world zombie game like this and multiplayer at that. I think multiplayer was just like was fantastic on Dying Light 1. Um it definitely could have been improved, but I think we had a lot of hours into this game.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. Um I know another game that I think I want to throw a lot of hours into, and that's definitely Back for Blood.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've been
Back
waiting for this type of
for
game since
Blood.
forever.
Yes, yes. As a Left 4 Dead fan, this game is definitely on my list of games that I need to just be on top of. Now, when is the release date for Back 4 Blood, or is it
I have a
not?
release date for it. Back for Blood, it should be coming out. Dang, it's on the top of my head. That's the best part.
Back 4 Blood. See, that's why we
It's
have Google. It's
Yeah, I know.
exactly
Well, I
what it
was
is.
on. It's coming out October 12th.
And
Wow.
yeah, initial release date. That's a ways away, but I definitely didn't get a chance to really go into any type of beta or whatever, but I did watch a few videos of beta and it's promising.
I've
It's
seen some,
promising.
but I've heard talks that they also are worrying about the competitive multiplayer. I hope that doesn't take away from the story because it looks like it'll be great for a good co-op long story.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Left 4 Dead developed like into this like I mean this co-op story was just was great. I mean even with the mods and outside of that, but they definitely did have a really good multiplayer base. Um Community. And I know that there was a lot of people that really love that multiplayer, and I wonder if that's what they're trying to go for. Also for Back for Blood is just that same core feeling of having that multiplayer experience of some people being zombies and some people being humans and fending off and doing all these different game modes. Um, and I hope that's polished too. I mean, I'm excited for the story, but I think the multiplayer is going to be one of those things that people are going to continuously go back to.
I mean,
Uh,
definitely. I mean, who doesn't like fighting giant bosses that are like as tall as buildings?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's one thing that caught me was seeing that these bosses are like freaking awesome. I mean, Definitely a night and day experience from Left 4 Dead. I mean, just thinking about how Left 4 Dead was back in the day, and just seeing that amount of zombies was just so incredible. To see that in a video game, just like hordes of zombies coming at you, but seeing hordes of zombies come at you, and then now having these like crazy bosses, I think are gonna be it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, I
But
mean, only one way to find out. It's in 5 months.
yeah, yeah, I mean that's a good wait. That's a good wait. I thought it was gonna come out a lot sooner than that, but you know what? It's gonna come out a lot sooner than Dying Light, so that's a good thing.
I mean, yeah.
It's definitely a good thing. We
I
actually
wonder if they
had a game that was like Dying Light,
Earthfall.
Earthfall, or is it called Earthfall?
Yep, Earthfall.
Earthfall, yes. We need to get back on that at some point, I think. There was updates to that game, and it's definitely something that I wouldn't mind playing. Um, it was
I
good,
mean, I
but
wouldn't mind either.
yeah, when we played it, I think it was still in its infancy phase because I think we got it like when it first came out,
We
and
got up before it came out because remember we were sitting down talking to the creator. Well, not sitting down. We were at TwitchCon talking to the creator of it,
yeah, yeah,
and he was showing us it, and we kind of expressed like we're kind of like looking forward to like a game like this, and he was like, just wait, and he showed us
you
like
know what?
the
We put that on our shelves.
yeah
We were excited for it, but then we played it and we were like, all right,
because I mean he showed us what it was gonna look like. He was like, just wait until the new content drops out, the reskin of the whole entire game, and then it looked amazing.
it does.
And when we were playing it we were playing it looking like we were playing the first Street Fighter compared to today's Street Fighter.
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, it was definitely a beta when we got it. But it was, yeah, it had remnants of Left 4 Dead, but um you could see that they were really trying to make their own game. I mean, it had the mechanics of Left 4 Dead and the feel
Yeah,
of
they
it, but
just
they
wanted
were
to put
really trying
aliens
to make
in.
their own game. Yeah, but it wasn't like let's just throw aliens instead of zombies and that's it. I think there was there was different core mechanics into it, like building, um,
Yeah, the end
what
of
was it, like
stage,
shields
the
and all
base
that stuff.
building and all that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff was pretty cool. Like I said, I think we need to revisit that, but yeah.
I mean, mine's is
So
downloaded, just waiting on you.
I got you. I got you. We'll set some time for it. Another game that's well, let's talk about games that are out. Returnal, Returnal, PS5 exclusive. The one of what, three of them that are out right now.
Hey, they
Uh,
don't. They might not have quantity, but they have quality. Okay,
yeah, they don't have quantity of systems either, but we're not going to talk about that, right? I
but it's
mean,
quality. It's still quality. I mean, those
yeah,
jet
sure.
engine fans are amazing.
You know what? Honestly, I having a PS5, I have yet to really be upset with how loud it is because it's not really that loud compared to the PS4.
I mean, I've turned on mines out of the day just to kind of warm up my room.
That's sad. That's sad. I don't know if the Pro is like that, but I
It's
know what
not.
do you have?
It's a lot
You have the
quieter.
original, right?
Day one,
Day one. Yeah, that's
still
rough.
still kicking hard.
That's rough. Returnal. Let's talk about that. I think you said you didn't know too much about it, other than it just looked good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks
Uh,
stunning, but other than that, I'm not on PS5, so I haven't really looked into
true,
those games.
true. So from what I've seen from it, it looks like it's a single player um roguelike shooter. Something that you can compare it to is like Risk of Rain, but single player. So you're going through these dungeons slash worlds or whatever you would consider it, um, and you're fighting hordes of enemies, and you're getting these power ups. I think it's not power ups. I think it's just weapons. But I'm not sure. You
Uh,
probably can
from
upgrade
what I
on
see, it
these
looks
products.
like Alien Tech.
Yeah. So the only complaint I've heard of this game was that the actual boards, like you know how like on Risk and Rain you can just you can run through a mission and then just end it. I would say within
Kind of
minutes.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, this you need to be grindy. You need to make sure that you're fully leveled and prepared for the next mission. And apparently this can take hours
I mean, that sounds like my type of game, but I know a lot of people don't like that.
without saving. So I'm talking about you got to sit there for a couple hours without saving and actually go through, and then you can get to the next board. So I think it's a great concept, and it looks. I mean, it's a beautiful looking game, honestly. But I just don't know for somebody that's casual to just pick it up and just kind of just jump into it. You're gonna have to put your PS5 on sleep mode constantly.
I mean, I guess this game's kind of really trying to utilize that feature, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Cause yeah, I mean, if you're putting hours into what one mission and you can't even save, just imagine it. And just imagine if your PS5 shuts down by mistake.
Ooh.
That's depressing. Yeah, I don't need that in my life. Um, it is weird though. I mean, there's not much exclusives out right now that dropped with PS5. And I almost feel like I need to buy this just to justify my PS5 purchase.
Well, I
And
mean,
it's
with the
kind of
PS,
sad.
well, PlayStation, I do have to give them that. They do work on their games and work on the storytelling. I mean, you can look at The Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank, the God of War series. Their stories are amazing, and not to mention, Uncharted. Like, they focus on taking their time with the games and not rushing, and that's a great thing for them. So when you pick up these titles for PlayStation and you're wondering why there's so few, it's because they're working on the new ones that are coming out. They're
You
not
sound like
rushing.
the biggest fanboy. What like just a huge fanboy just for saying that.
I mean, I'm a fan
But
of story games, okay?
no, I mean I'm stepping in what you're smelling in, but what you're smelling, but but I just don't know. I mean you're paying $500 for a console. Well, if it's not resold, um, and you have what less than 10 games that are on your system right now. I think it's kind of rough, especially I think the system's been out for a couple months now. And I get it. I get the climate that we're in. I get what's going on right now, and um that there are delays, but still, it's just kind of I think we're still in this console infancy where you're picking up every new game that comes out just because you want a new game. Like, and it reminds me back of when the Xbox One launched and the PS4 launched. Everybody was picking up games. Uh, Prime example. Uh, what is that game that was like GTA? Uh,
There's a few like GTA.
that came out before GTA 5 dropped on the PS4. What was that? It was like where you hack everything. What was the Watch
Oh,
Dogs?
Watch Dogs?
Watch Dogs. I remember because we both worked at GameStop. Uh, I remember when everybody was pre-ordering Watch Dogs just because it was an open world game and it felt like, well, it looked like it felt like GTA, but had nothing even close compared to what GTA 5 was doing on the older consoles. Um, but we still bought that. And that was just because we were like, damn, we need games for this system. And I feel like that's what's going on right now. It's just it's annoying having to wait for just this abundance of games to choose from. But I
I mean,
guess that's just kind of the caveat of owning a system that just came out.
it's not just that. I mean, you also got to think about the COVID times. A lot of game designers, they have to kind of work from home, so it takes a lot longer. They're not able to communicate with their team as easy as they were before.
Right, no, I totally get that. Totally get that. But right, and it makes it even worse because back with PS4, Xbox One, they still had that issue, but games were coming out slowly. I think games are trickling out a little bit slower now just because of COVID. Um, but I'm excited to see what Sony's gonna do with the PS5. Same thing with the Xbox. I think Xbox already has I think they're already up there as far as their top tier. I really wish that Series X dropped with Halo, but I get why they're pushing it back to this year holiday time. Um, it just makes more sense for console sales for them. But I think as far as like Microsoft has a set plan where the streaming and this Game Pass, that I think that Game Pass is amazing. I think it's smart. I think it's perfect for what
The
they're
future of
doing with it.
gaming.
It definitely is. I think it's what GameFly wanted to be.
Oh, it's definitely what GameFly wanted to be. It's what every service out there wanted to be.
GameFly paved the way for Microsoft's Game Pass. Um, and just having it work on both PC and their systems and now mobile phones and streaming, just so many different platforms that you could just access Xbox's Game Pass. It's crazy. Um,
I mean, it's
and knowing
putting
that
games in everybody's hands.
yeah, and knowing that Sony's is lackluster just sucks because I know that it's not even close to that level because just Sony doesn't put bangers like Xbox does on their Game Pass, which I don't understand why. I feel like if Sony dropped like a Game Pass and it had like PS1, PS2, PS3 games, I think people would fall in love with that more.
I
'Cause that's
mean,
what
I
people
definitely
want.
would.
People want that. And I don't know why we're not, you know, pushing for backwards compatibility because that's what we want. We want to play older games sometimes. But,
Well, they're
that's
pushing the PlayStation Now. That's the issue, but they're not pushing it hard. It has a lot of games in there, adding them. I'll say weekly and
they're not
bi-weekly. It's
that
just
great though. You look at that list of games, they're not that
it's
great.
not. But I
They're
mean,
not that
it's a start. It's
compare
something.
that it's a start, but the thing is you're battling with a giant like Microsoft. Sony's been in the gaming world or industry like longer than Microsoft. You would think that the giant would sit there and would dwarf Microsoft's fucking
But
Game
that's
Pass.
the issue right there. Is PlayStation's been in the game for so long, and they think they're the top dog, and they want to be greedy with everything. So when they're reaching out to these companies to try to grab these titles to put on the PlayStation Now, they're like, you don't work well with these other consumers, well, these other partners. So Microsoft's able to get them because they're like, we're not gonna claim this as exclusive.
Right. I
So
mean, look at I mean, Microsoft made Bethesda a great deal, and
yeah,
that
and
screwed
it
over Sony
no, it didn't.
tenfold.
I mean, they still share it. I mean, look at Minecraft. Minecraft's owned by Microsoft, but Sony still has it.
So you think that Microsoft's gonna let Bethesda drop games? I mean,
They
it would
have
make sense.
they've made that article already, and they said, we're gonna keep your exclusives, as theirs that already have their exclusives for Microsoft, but then they're still gonna make the other ones available. Like if they come out with new Elder Scrolls or a new Fallout, they're gonna keep it on the board for everybody.
Mhm.
They're not gonna be greedy with it. And imagine if Sony got that deal. They're gonna keep that.
Well, you know who Microsoft is playing well with, and
Oh,
that's Nintendo.
Nintendo. They love Nintendo.
Nintendo, Nintendo sits in the corner and they're just like, you know what? Don't bother us. We got this,
'Cause I
right?
mean, look at Nintendo. They're like, we've been in the game longer than both of y'all. We know what the fuck we're doing. We play well with everybody.
They
We're,
needed
we're,
the Switch though. They needed
they
the Switch. They
they
were
did.
drowning. They were drowning. I mean, we look into the Wii U, right? The
Great
Wii U.
system, terrible launch.
I don't even remember it launching. I worked at GameStop. Don't even remember it launched. That's the worst
Uh,
part about that.
I know it's funny because we didn't get any pre-orders. I mean, people were like,
No.
"Why do we need the new Wii? We have the old Wii."
And then asked us multiple times if we could buy the tablet.
And
That
it's
was
like
annoying.
it's not a portable console.
But you know what? I think that was Nintendo testing it out. And we got the Switch out of that, which I think is beautiful. But they were struggling. But I mean, let's look at Nintendo now, right? They are giants. Well, they've always been a giant, but they are soaring now with this Switch. And I think with a lot of this being home and everything, this Switch was meant for portability, but
I mean, it's nice
people
to
are
sit back.
loving this on their TV. They love the Switch on their TV, and I agree with that. I love being able to play games like Pokemon or Mario, just all those games that Nintendo produces. I love playing them on a big screen.
And it's not even just playing on a big screen. I was on Instagram earlier today, and
Mhm.
I saw one of my favorite people on there playing it in his bed in handheld mode. And his wife walked in and goes, "Why are you not playing on a TV?" He goes, "I'm more comfortable like this." So it has a comfortable aspect of being able to play it wherever you want. Sometimes you don't want to face the TV. You want to face the opposite way. You got that ability with that handheld.
Like that's always been my dream though, like when I was younger, it was just like being able to just go from playing a a big title like on these consoles and then just switching into just kind of a handheld and just chilling on the bed or chilling on the couch.
I mean, it's
Um
been my biggest thing to play one of the Legend of Zelda games, and Breath of the Wild kind of took my breath away. I know it's corny to say that, but being able to take that and say I had to use the bathroom, able to take it with me, it's amazing.
yeah, that's I don't think nobody needs to know that. That was but but yeah, no, I get that. Being able to play anywhere as you feel
Yeah, it's
fit
the
is
easiest
great.
system to pack up and go. I mean, how many times have I brought mines to your house and it's not like I'm logging around a brick or a VCR anymore. I'm putting it in a little carrying case and it's easy.
Yeah, the
Weighs
fact
less than
that you
five
can
pounds.
fit the fact that you could fit two consoles in a small bag that you have is crazy. Oh, that's my alarm. Sorry. Already been 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes already. But yeah, the fact that you can sit two consoles in one little bag, I think is just crazy. Technology has gone a long way, and I feel like Nintendo is pushing us in that right direction. Even though it's a bit of an underpowered system, but I feel like their developers just utilize it so well. Games that I'm waiting on is still Metroid. They announced that I think the year after the Switch launched in E3. Where's Metroid? We don't know where that's at. It's just they gave us a freaking image of the name and that's it. We have not heard of Metroid since. I think that
Yeah, I
makes me
mean,
really mad.
I hope when it comes out, whenever it does, it's just as good as the GameCube versions.
Oh yeah. My fear is that is it just not playable on the Switch? Like, is it just the Switch is so underpowered? Like, I wonder. Like, you hear these rumors of Switch Pro and having a better GPU or faster processor. Um, are we gonna have Switch Pro games? You know, I think I'm definitely in fear of that. I don't know how long the Switch has been out now. I think I would say what 3, or am I undershotting it for
I
3 years?
think you're
Somewhere
undershotting it. I think it may have been a
a
while.
lot longer than that. It doesn't feel like I've had it for so long, but maybe I mean you could be correct. I understand it might be in due time for a newer system from Nintendo, but it is nerve-wracking to think that it will be kind of like how the DS played out, where there was like a DS, a 3DS, 2DS, and then you were splitting between DS games and 3DS games. You had to have a specific console for that, and I feel like the Switch might go that route. Um, what was their latest release on the Switch was what? Pokemon Snap?
Yeah, Pokemon Snap, I believe. Well, the latest, big title.
Big title, yeah, big title release. Pokemon Snap. Um, People have been wanting this.
I mean,
People have been wanting
it
Snap.
was on Nintendo 64. It did hit a lot of people's hearts. I played a little bit on the 64.
Hmm.
I'm not a big fan, but I can see why. People, you got kids that, they like to see these on-rail shooter type games in the arcades. But then their parents are like, you like this game, but it has too much violence. So it's kind of like an on-the-rail shooter without the violence.
I never would have thought of it that way. I never would have thought of it as an on-rail shooter, which is crazy. Now that you put it in that perspective, now it's I low key want to play it now. But
I,
there's so many people that I feel like I've talked to regarding the N64, right? And they'll mention Pokemon Snap, but I've never really come across people who said they actually played it. Like they'll reminisce and be like, "Oh yeah, Pokemon Snap," but I'm like, I never really had a full conversation of somebody saying like, "Wow, they loved Pokemon Snap." It was always Pokemon Stadium, Smash Brothers, 007, Perfect Dark, but nothing about Pokemon Snap that was just like, "Oh, I loved it. Like I loved playing that." Never came. You're probably the first person that I've heard actually play it.
I
To
I
be honest.
played it, but the reason why I didn't like it as much is because, I played the other ones. At the time, I was playing, all the handheld ones. on the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, Game Boy Color, and all that. I was playing those still. So, going around taking pictures and filling out a Pokedex on that is a lot different than battling and catching them and filling out. So it didn't catch my attention, but now I look at this one, I'm like, maybe I should get it because, like I said, it is an on-rail shooter in a sense. And you're just filling up your Pokedex, taking pictures, reporting back. And they don't like to call it a Pokedex anymore. It's a photo dex in this one, and I like it. It's a spin. Think about when you play, Pokemon Go or something. You're looking at these Pokemon. You sometimes get the little mission where you got to take a snapshot with it. It's nice. It's a breath of fresh air from Pokemon and battling.
I don't think
We're
it's
used
worth
to.
$60.
Oh, it's definitely not worth $60. I mean,
Should have
granted
dropped
they
at
did
30.
granted they did put a lot of graphics in it. No telling how much work they actually had to put in to make sure these Pokemon are constantly moving around while you're
But
going through it.
$60 to
I mean,
be on a character you're not moving around. I mean, granted, listen, I
I would say
haven't
40.
done enough research. I would say 30, but I haven't done enough research to say like, all right, I don't know if you take control of your character. Is it you're just moving the camera around and you're just taking pictures? Is that really worth $60 of you just going around and seeing this scenic, like basically watching a movie and taking pictures of these creatures? I just, I don't know. I don't know. It's I think it's a little too much to ask for. It's a beautiful looking game, yes. Uh, do I wish they would have put this much time into Sword and Shield? Yes, because the way this looks, if Sword and Shield looked like this, I'd be a lot more happier and definitely excited for the upcoming one. Forgot
Was
what
it
was the game.
Lazarus?
I forgot what the new one is called. I think it's like Pokemon. Is it Journey?
No, it's Pokemon something with that. Arceus Legends, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Or are you talking about the
Is it Legends? Yeah, it's Legends.
yeah?
Okay, so yeah, I'm excited to see where that's gonna go. Like, and I hope those trees don't look like shit. Uh, because like, yeah, granted, I'm not playing the game for the trees, but geez, come on, like you could have put a
I
little
mean,
bit more
you
time,
got you
like
gotta you gotta look at it like
effort
this. If
into
it's an
that.
open world, you definitely want to see the open world. I mean,
Right,
you kind of
enjoy
want
it.
to experience. Yeah, you want
Right,
to take that little scenic route whenever you get the chance.
right. Don't give me an open field with a little bit of grass and then throw Pokemon in and say like, wow, this is the next generation. No, I feel like, come on, and it sounds like I'm griping and I'm complaining, but I feel like we need to put more pressure on these on this on that on Game Freak for just pushing the boundaries of Pokemon because I think having it be the same thing every year. Now, granted, Sword and Shield definitely put a nice little spin on it with the whole open world aspect of it, and I liked it, but it felt more of like a tech demo for what they wanted to release later on.
I I
Uh,
I I can definitely see that. I mean, we
and
have the technology. They should be utilizing it, to be honest. It doesn't seem like they are. It seems like they're taking the easy route, trying to make something that,
right, look at
you know,
Zelda.
I mean, Zelda is amazing. I mean, open world aspect, the amount of detail they put in a lot of stuff, the graphic
And
design.
there's a lot of NPCs even in that open world that is moving around. You can do the same thing with Pokemon. Look how beautiful that world is for Zelda. I just I just feel like there's no excuse. And I could be wrong. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how that goes, but maybe they were rushed. And I feel like that ties into our next topic, which is game development rush. And do you feel that a lot of these game companies are pushing out unfinished games?
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely a lot of unreleased games. I mean, look at Cyberpunk for example.
Oh gosh,
That was not finished
that
in
no,
no
it wasn't.
way, shape, or form. I mean, I can tell you an even bigger title that wasn't finished. Marvel Avengers.
Avengers, yes. E- Avengers had me thinking that I needed to buy a new computer when it was nothing wrong with my computer. Like I felt like I mean, I'm running 2070 an i5, 32 gigs of RAM. I'm thinking at medium settings, at least Avengers will run, 60 frames, beautifully smooth, and look decent. I was having issues day one. week one, month one. What are we on now? I don't know how many months the game has been out,
It's
and it's
it's
still stuttering. I'm still having slowdowns. It's not my PC, and I'm happy to know that it was just that game was not finished. That game
I
was
mean,
not polished.
I got on recently, and my Black Widow is still in that same stance. She walks
Well, she was
around
in.
gliding.
Oh, I thought that was the one where she was in the ground.
No, that's just a random. That's an
Oh, okay.
NPC just in the ground, and it's sloppy because he still has a block above, so he's on the walkway, and I can't get past him on certain parts.
I wonder if they slacked on PC because I don't think I've heard too much complaints on console side. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was shit. It was a bad push on the console side, but I wonder if they just really slacked on PC.
I think they did. I think they slacked all around, but mainly on PC because I mean they were so proud to announce that patch that fixed over 1,000 things. Like that's not something to be proud of to announce, you know?
Now, do you feel like then? Do you feel like Cyberpunk got a lot of flack
I
that
think
took the brunt end of it? Because I mean, there's other games that came out, like Avengers, um, that didn't get as much hate as Cyberpunk did.
I think
Um,
Cyberpunk they kind of went really hard on Cyberpunk because it was something that they were rushing. Not the creators per se, they definitely rushed it, but I'm saying like everybody was rushing them to release this game
mhm.
since they first showed Keanu Reeves on it. Then they started rushing them even more. They started pushing. They wanted to get this game out to everybody right away because you're getting tons of letters from everybody saying we want the game now.
And then they pulled it off the PlayStation Store. I
And
understand that though. It was unplayable on the system.
oh, it's terrible. I mean,
The
there's
fr- I,
videos
I
out
think
there.
it was the frame rates were like well under 30. PS4 barely can run it. Same thing with Xbox, but I don't think Xbox took it off their stores, but PlayStation actively took it off their
And
store. And I don't know if
refund
it's
it.
I don't even know if it's back on. I can't even tell you if it's back on now.
You know, I haven't seen anything when I was in the PlayStation store for it, and I haven't been looking though.
And the game's been updated since then, and unfortunately, I feel like the hype is dead for it already. For them to even just, I mean, of course they're gonna keep working on it, and they're gonna keep trying to bring that back to life. But I think the hype is dead.
You know what's funny? I just looked up Cyberpunk on the PlayStation website, and you won't believe the first result I got.
What is that?
Cyberpunk 2077 refunds, and I'm not joking.
That's sad.
It said we found 9 results, and the only one that actually talks about the game is the refunds. So I don't know if it's on the store.
I'm actually on the app right now, and no, it's not. It's not on the store. So
Yeah, they're only talking about refunds. It's completely off the store. Holy shit.
yeah, that's. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, people compare that. So people compare that an unfinished game with all these broken promises to another game that came out a couple years ago, and that was it's escaping me right now. It was the one where you would go to different planets. I'm trying to think what was the name of that.
Oh, No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky. There you go. And was expressing why didn't they take that off the PlayStation Store, or why didn't they take that off certain stores when they gave promises that were not kept.
Well, the
And
thing
people
with
felt
them,
like Cyberpunk was treated unfairly, but
but
I'm.
there's a difference. Cyberpunk was unplayable. No Man's
Mhm.
Sky was still playable, just promises that weren't fulfilled as of yet. They did start to, you know, do the promises. Obviously, it was a lot later on, but it was still a playable game.
No, I agree with that. I agree 100.
Cyberpunk, I mean, imagine walking and your character just falls through the ground.
Right.
That's
Was
unplayable.
Avengers that bad on? That's I'm curious if Avengers was that bad on console because I feel like that was just another thing. Like I would love a refund. I truly don't want to pick that game back up after, and I was very excited for it. And in reality, I don't know why. Now that I look at the gameplay, it's an okay game, minus the crappy glitches and just the poor performance. it's an okay game overall. I will never say that that game was a great game. The story was okay. The mechanics were mediocre. They were decent. I knew what they were trying to do with it, with the whole game itself, but it just I felt like it fell short. And having that whole, I think, what is it? Is it a card-based system to unlock like outfits and having those microtransactions? I feel like that was just like, come on. Like
They knew what they were doing. They just wanted money. They figure, hey, we
it's a $60 game. I feel like just give us that. What happened to unlocking characters? Like it's just not a thing.
you gotta
DLC
buy
has
them.
you're right. It's DLC. It's it's almost like you give us an unfinished game and then you say you got to buy the rest of the game later on. And that's what DLC is.
I mean, that's why I miss old-fashioned gaming.
Right. I can't and I try to think of that time was like what what game can you really compare to that just like lets you unlock things and you had a full game? Like how long ago? What's the most recent game you could think of
The
that
most
lets you do that?
recent that
Yeah, the
just lets you
most
unlock
recent.
stuff.
Right. It's hard to
Uh,
think of that.
it is really hard because I mean, for example, there was a game I was playing recently, and I thought, hey, there's no DLC, there's nothing like that. It's a great game. Dead Cells, another game I got from TwitchCon. I was like, oh, it's cool, no DLC. It's a Metrovania type game. Tell me why, you know, beginning of last year and the end of the year before, DLC. So it's kind of hard to even say that because a lot of games have played DLC microtransactions like Devil May Cry 5. The old ones, the DLC was understandable. It was a whole new extension of the story. Now in Devil May Cry 5, it's microtransactions. You can level up your character. So I don't know. That's a
So here's my thing. What would you prefer? Right? Would you prefer paying this new premium of charge of $70 for a game
no,
or paying DLC?
because this new charge is just what they're charging for the game. They're still gonna have that DLC.
No, I
That's
get that. I get that. I'm just saying, what would you prefer? What would you prefer? Let's say in a perfect world, you get you pay either $70 for a game or you pay $60 and then a year later down there's DLC, you pay for that. What would you prefer?
I would prefer that $70. If that $70 can, you know, get me a game that seems complete, all the DLCs included right away, I'll be happier with that than paying, for a season pass. Well, correction, because they say it's a season pass, and now it's actually a season that you get, and then there's more seasons with it. Because I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
got I got screwed over with Borderlands 3 when I looked at that and it said season pass 1. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean 1? I'm used to getting a season pass and getting all the DLC. Now you got to buy the second one.
Right. I thought that was, when season passes first started coming out, it was to tame the whole multiple DLCs that come out. I think Call of Duty was one of the pioneers of it. I'm not sure who actually started it, but Call of Duty was definitely one of the pioneers of map packs. So buying map packs was like a big thing, and um, you know, I guess Activision was like, "Hey, let's do a season pass. Let's bundle all these map packs into one thing, and then sell it to the customer and say you're getting a great deal. You can get this season pass, and you'll save like $5, right?" At some point, and I don't know where, somebody thought, "Man, we can split these season passes up." So you're getting packs of packs, and then it just becomes a headache. And I get that. I think the same thing happened in Forza. There's multiple season passes for that. Um, like you said in Devil May Cry, it's to a point where it's just like, how much am I really spending on these games? And I think spending the budget for gaming is just like ridiculous now because now they're what, $70, like you said. Now we're in this non-perfect world where we're paying $70 for a game. We're gonna pay $30 for DLC. That's already what, $100
And then the whole
for the
you only
one
bought the
game.
first you only bought the first season pass of it though.
Right. Let's get another 30. That's $130 for this game. Is this game really worth $130 of my time, my
Not at
time
all.
and hard-earned cash? No,
Not
I don't think so.
because you just spent additional $60 on that game for about 4 extra hours of that game.
And yeah, think about how crazy that is. You're you get, let's say, 5 of those games. You're paying almost as much as you paid for the console for 5 games. It's
It's
crazy to think about that.
and sometimes it's not worth it because as we were just talking about, you don't get finished games. Sometimes they're glitchy. Sometimes, it's just terrible to even try to play because you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
what was that game that just came out? Outriders, I believe. I had a friend on, I believe, PlayStation. He couldn't get past the first mission because it glitched. Wouldn't let him finish the mission.
It's and that's just annoying. And it's crazy if you think about it. It's just like you have these games that you invest your time, your money into, and then it just becomes broken, and then you're just like, all right, am I stuck with it? I mean, you kind of have what Steam's rule. I think. What do you have? 3 hours? Is it 3 hours?
Nah,
Or is it 2 hours?
you have 2 hours that you can't go over 2 hours, and you can
Can't go over
return it,
two
but it has
hours.
to be within a week, I believe, a week or 2 weeks.
Right. I like that, but I feel like with some games, I feel like they need to be a little bit more lenient about it. If the game is straight up broken and you find that out, let's say you don't got time to play games. Let's say you have once a week, you put maybe 30 minutes into a game each week. You start noticing issues. You're stuck with that game. You're not getting these refunds, you know?
I mean, I
Uh,
played Marvel Avengers, and I didn't notice it didn't crash on me until I was about 4 hours in.
I think that was the same for me, and it was right around the time of wanting to play, being able to play multiplayer because you
I
don't get to
think
play
that was the
multiplayer
issue
right away.
right there. Multiplayer was probably the issue because it's constantly updating even your regular missions.
Right. So, and then you just weren't able to get a refund from that, which I think it sucks. And the thing is, we weren't treated the same way Cyberpunk people were treated, where you were able to get this refund even if you had a stupid amount of hours into the game. Craziness. I think that one, that was a waste of $60. Gaming is definitely an expensive hobby, and putting $60 into a game that is broken and you promise something, I think is just wrong and it sucks. And then on top of that, to have DLC is just, I think, just a kick and just kick the horse while it's down, right? I mean, I think that's just it's such a disgusting thing, and I don't think it gets talked enough in
It
the game
definitely
community.
doesn't.
It definitely doesn't, and I feel like, and that's just because of just these big brand gaming companies that are just like,
It's
I feel like
because
they keep
they
that
eased
stuff
us
on the
in
hush
it.
hush.
They
Yeah,
eased us in it, and we didn't notice until it was too late and prices were too much.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Um, I think we're well over. Obviously, I think we're well over 30 minutes. I don't know how long we've been recording. I feel like this was a good episode one. We have, I think we didn't even like touch half the topics we wanted to,
No,
but
we definitely did. We didn't really touch tech.
no, we didn't. But that's fine. I mean, episode one is cool. I'm excited that we started this. I think that this is something that we can definitely continue. Episode two, we'll just jump back on to what we were, going to talk about in this episode and just try to figure out what we want to do time wise. But I had a good time. I think this was definitely a great conversation, and
Oh, definitely.
uh, we're gonna post this only on YouTube for right now.
All right.
Our schedule that we're trying to post is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. So this episode will post Tuesday, and that is when you're listening. It should be on the 11th, and our next episode should be on the 13th, which is Thursday. And we'll try to be consistent with that. And if there's any suggestions or if you want to continue the conversation, feel free to do that in the comment section below. Um, I don't have to go through the whole subscribe, like, comment. That's the YouTube steez. Um,
Yeah, you do what
we're
you feel like, man.
exactly. We are Glitchy Ghost Podcast. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And soon we'll explore other um social
Options.
medias and options. But I'm closing this out. And Cody, do you have any other things to say before we close this episode out?
No, I think everything was pretty much covered. I'll be down in the comments if anybody comments, and trying to keep up with that. And
Definitely.
can't wait till next time.
All right.